I made my daughter's mom sob. Am I the a-hole for accusing my daughter's mother of making me a deadbeat? So, I, 44, am fairly well off. I'm high up in the company where I work and money's no problem for my wife, 33, and our 2 kids. When I was 17, I wasn't the type of person that you'd want to be a father. My own father was a terrifying presence. I almost flunked high school. My high school girlfriend Sophia left me after I got held by the cops one night, and in a double whammy, she moved to Scotland with her dad for university in Edinburgh. Sophia was pregnant and never told me. She never kept in touch. I wasn't looking her up in Scotland. I feel like I had a right to know. Ironically, her leaving made me get my life together and I did very well in university. Sometime when we were 18, she gave birth to my daughter Inessa. Well, Inessa knew who I was and so she decided to contact me, telling me I was her father. Sophia and Inessa had moved back to the country, different city, and I flew out to meet her. I saw a picture of her after she contacted me. She looks just like my mother, so no need for a DNA test. I avoided seeing her mom and I spent all the time I could with her, getting to know her and learning all that I'd missed. Here's the kicker, I gave my kids the best life possible, but she struggled her entire life. After Sophia's dad died, they had a bad time in Scotland and even briefly moved with her mom to Russia. They're doing good now, because my Inessa's got a great job in the same field I started out in. It made me mad. I could have provided for her. She could have gone to the fancy schools that my kids go to. She could have gotten new shoes, clothes, games every birthday and Christmas. She didn't even have her father to teach her how to drive. I didn't even pay child support. It makes me upset I didn't do right by her. When I met her mom again, it was tense. I laid out everything I wrote in a calm manner and my daughter made me leave as her mother was going to cry. I met Inessa the day after when I left and we've talked every night since, but we haven't brought that up. My wife told me I was a jerk to tell her mother that and demanded I apologize, but I couldn't help but feeling like I wasn't wrong. However, a few days ago, my wife told me she's pregnant and she talked to me about the situation in terms of what if I passed before my child was born, and since then I've felt like a major jerk because Sophia did a much better job with Inessa than other single parents I knew like my own father. I made my daughter's mom sob. I've met with my daughter Inessa and her mother Sophia again. I went to the city that Inessa lives in for a business trip and she agreed to meet me. I went to Sophia's home and took the time to talk to Sophia while Inessa was changing. I did what most of you, and my wife, recommend and apologize to Sophia. I told her I was hurt I couldn't be there for her and Inessa, but that she did an incredible job, better than I would have been able to do before I got my life on track, and I admire how much stronger than me she is for doing it all despite all she faced. This brought tears to her again, but thankfully she hugged me and forgave me. She then apologized to me for not telling me when I was older, but told me it was that at first she was afraid of my father and later on she didn't want to disrupt my life. I told her it didn't matter and all that matters is Inessa and her happiness. When I went to dinner with Inessa, I gave her an old photograph of my mother as a gift and she thought it was some old-timey photo of herself at first because they look so similar. I told her about my own terrible father and why it hurt me so much that I didn't get to be there for her because I had this notion that it's a father's duty to always help his child, guide them, teach them and love them, and they're a failure if they weren't. I told her I was sorry I made her mother cry, but no, now she was a better mother and father to her than I could have been at that time. She also forgave me, and when she called me dad, she'd just been saying father before, which was still adorable cause of her mix of a Russian and Scottish accent. For the first time as she hugged me, it was the best feeling in the world. Although I'd booked a hotel for the night, Inessa insisted I stay with her and Sophia. We wound up staying up for hours watching old home movies of Inessa as a kid, which she converted into digital from tape somehow, and even though I couldn't be there for any of that, I do feel better about it. Before I left, I promised Inessa that I'd always be there for her and if she ever needed anything, to just ask me and I'd take a flight to see her that day. When I got home, my wife told me I did the right thing in apologizing to both of them and that I should see her for Christmas and that our kids would be fine without me for once. So, I thank you guys for recommending that I apologize. It feels like a weight has been lifted and I can be there for Inessa without regrets.